It is showtime. It is showtime. We are live. We'll wait to get some people online because let's face it, we won. We won a bit more than the scoreline I suggested yesterday, but a win is a win. Let's get the advert finished. Grampian boys, Jeff Ray. Riley's goal was nice. Right, let's get some. Let's get some more people online. There's only 12 online, so let's get some more people online. Jump over the comments. Lanky was first in, and he said, "What a day! A decent game. The best thing about it was Gilgo's goal. Oof, pick that out. Hail for the Grampian boys. Great result. I was panicking at half time. Riley's goal was nice. Paul Baird is in the house saying, hail. What did, and first thing I need to say, I got absolute pelters yesterday. I got pelters last night for saying, hi, John, how are you? And I got pelters last night for saying TURNBULL would start. TURNBULL would start. And everyone was like, no, TURNBULL should be nowhere near that first team. I told you TURNBULL would start. He won't start the rest of the games for the rest of the season. He will get put back in his place. I think that the fact that now that Rio Hatate has come into a game, and it was good to get some of the other players on the pitch. So let's say some hellos. First of all, Stuart's in the house. Afternoon, Baz and fellow Tims. Hail. Definitely a game of two halves. I agree with that. I think once we got the first goal, Dundee always had to open up slightly, and it's what they did. So, and the changes. Tell me in the comments what you think about Paulo Bernardo, but we didn't get enough to see enough of him, really. Yang, the performance in the first half, he didn't do it for me at all. Yang didn't do it for me. Will that let our Honduras player come in and make a name for himself? What it did do is it gave a lot of players game time. What a difference. Who really cares? Is what a difference from either 1414 official says hail. Right, let's get to the bit about Kyogo because we said this before the window closed. We needed a striker. Celtic did not want to spend the money on the Brøndby guy, which was disappointing because I think even if we went in and we'd paid the 6 million, hail from Oakley. Get in there, Oakley. James Oakley's a fantastic little town. Just out the back of Dunfermline. This is how most teams will play against us and shows if we stick to the game plan, we will win. Definitely. A play like that in the Champions League, we aren't going to do much, says Slavin. Here he goes, Mr. Negativity. I don't think you're going to play that like that in the Champions League because Champions League teams will not sit back and defend the way they did today. Right, we're going to talk about Kyogo's shoulder and the fact that we did not bring a striker in before. Let me just and as you can see, that things are kind of changing in the studio and stuff. And apologies for this morning's video because it was at a different location, and just things. Bear with me this week because there's going to be a few changes this week. Anyway, let's get to Kyogo because I said we need a striker. We need to bring a striker in at the window. We didn't, and we are this close to Kyogo having an extended time out. And if this happens during the Champions League campaign, you can say goodnight to third place. Chris Sutton this morning said that he thought that Celtic can qualify. If Kyogo gets an injury, we will not qualify in the Champions League. We'll not get second. It's as simple as that. Evening Troops, evening Lanky. We'll never sell for a club for a pound, says hail. John Shirley says, Baz, Kyogo's goal. I thought King Henrik was playing. Yep. Kyogo take a head ball. I think we'll talk about Kyogo in a minute, but we need to talk about the fact that we didn't buy another striker. Maida playing Seymour. Who really cares? Hail from the unlikely most Catholic town of Bells Hill. Bells Hill's got a good going there. I know quite a few. I know a bus that goes from Bells Hill. I know the guys that ran the bus from Bells Hill. So yeah, Bells Hill bus is a good one. Some of them sitting 1-1-1. Anyway, let's move on for that. We'll end up getting third place in the Champions League. Realistically, I've said that all along. we need right. Let's get back to the Kyogo thing first of all. Right, we're jumping about here. Kyogo gets injured, and we are absolutely goosed. Now, there's a couple of older guys in the pub saying, "Yeah, Kyogo was dropping far too far back." When you've got a bank of five and then a bank of four, Kyogo needs to drop back because he's not got any space. So it just astounds me sometimes that people can be watching the game and just see it through their own craziness. Because I thought the first half, formation wise, the first half, Celtic made a lot of new things that you probably didn't notice. I mean, the two defenders were going out wider. It was allowing the inverted fullbacks to come in again. If you look at Alistair Johnson coming in front of the defence, which then allowed the wide players to make sure that the wingers were playing on the wing. I thought it was ingenious by Brendan, and there was a guy in the pub saying Brendan Rodgers should never be near the fucking club again. As who's going to come in? And he said some guy done in England. I was like, no chance. Brendan Rodgers was the right man for the job. He said Neil Lennon should come back and play. No, Neil Lennon cost us the 10 in a row, said to him. Anyway, if Kyogo gets injured, we made a massive, massive error in the transfer window. We had the Brøndby guy in our grasp, and good old Celtic wouldn't pay the going rate for him. If Kyogo gets injured with a shoulder injury, right? If he gets injured with a shoulder injury, he can kiss the Champions League second spot goodbye. I mean, Big Chris Sutton, I've got to love the guy. He's one of us through and through. But I think when we're at that level, and I said it umpteen times before the window closed, we need someone in that can cover for Kyogo. O is not the answer. I'm sorry. O's a great player to come on. O's a bit like a Chris Sutton or a John Hartson. He's not a Henrik Larsson. Kyogo's that Henrik Larsson. If we lose him, it'll be like the time when Henrik snapped his leg in France. When Henrik snapped his leg in France, we were at sixes and sevens for ages. Do you know, we were just absolutely anyway. There was a Welsh guys. Was there a Welsh guy in the pub, Baz? I've no idea. There was Liverpool fans in before watching the Liverpool game. John says Kevin showed me a video of your new place. It looks quality. Cats out the bag, John. Yes, it is. It is, and it's all due to hard work and living the dream. And it's there's nothing that isn't achievable in life. Let's just say that. Right. Even Baz says, Rod, always taking a big chance. We always take a big chance. Oh, right. Guitar man, O is work in progress. But is O a striker that's going to score 30 goals a season? Is he a Lee Griffiths? No, I don't think so. He's a big guy and he's got a bit of something in him. He's going to be a good striker. But what I'm talking about a Henrik Larsson, a Lee Griffiths, an Oddson Edward. He's never going to hit that level, I don't think. It's just a personal opinion, do you know? And it's all one Celtic fan's view. That was horrific, Shinbo. Yeah, it was. Shin right through his sock. Yeah, I remember that well, Div. And it's that level. This is how important that I'm saying this shoulder injury with Kyogo. Make no mistakes. If this causes us third place in the Champions League, do you know? I was joking with your Irish accent. There's always Irish. It's an Irish pub I'm drinking. Jesus. Of course there's Irish in the pub. But yeah, I don't know about Welsh. Right, anyway, let's see what Brendan said. Obviously, Nat Phillips come off at half time. That was just purely to give him. He didn't look. He's not playing a lot of games. He didn't. Some of his passing was a bit off. His positional play was absolutely brilliant. You can see top player. But some of his passing was a little bit off. So it was all about game time. Get him on that first half. And make sure that he gets that game time, gets a feeling for the pitch, gets a feeling for the team. He done really well. Bringing Gustav on, thought Gustav made a difference in the second half, and we'll talk about the second half in a minute. But the fact that Kyogo came off with that shoulder injury, Brendan Rodgers did move to calm fears with going into the Champions League clash. He said he remains hopeful that Kyogo will be available and so will Phillips. He says, look, it was precautionary measures to take Phillips off, and it was precautionary just to take Kyogo off and see exactly. I mean, Nat Phillips strolled through the first half. You can see he's at a different level from some of the players that are at Celtic. But, it's just making sure that he was there for Tuesday. That's the most important. Kyogo felt a little bit on his shoulder. He needed a little bit of work inside. He got that sorted. He got a bit deep heat on it, and he got sorted. They'll both be fine. The manager has said both players will be fine for Tuesday. That's the most important part. Nat Phillips was all about just giving him that game time. He couldn't come in for the Sevco game purely for the fact that he hadn't played enough. And Liverpool said, look, don't throw him in straight away. Get him some time on the training pitch. Rodgers also said, look, the penalty from David Turnbull. David Turnbull. Right, we need to get to David Turnbull because I got slated. Absolutely slated. Yeah, you still think Turnbull's shit, right? But I did say you have to look at the bigger picture, right? And I had Turnbull in the team yesterday, looking at the bigger picture. A lot of people are saying, why Turnbull? Leave him out. He's not there. He's fit, right? He's in form. He might not be the best player. He might not be a Rio Hatate. He might not be a Paulo Bernardo, right? But he's a fit player. You have to play the fittest players at the start of the game, and that's what he did. And he scores the penalty. He gets took down on the edge of the box. So it was a penalty. His foot was in the box, so it was a penalty all day long. The ref gave it as just outside the box, right? Turnbull, as a squad player for me, had to play today, and I was spot on with the team. I was spot on with the team from yesterday, and Gustav looked a lot better today. Yeah, he did. Gustav looked a lot better. Also, be I give him a Patsy. He's only talking. Jesus, you gave who a Patsy? Oh my God, really? Scales lob balls were class. So right, Scales lob balls are class. What about Callum McGregor's? Callum McGregor's passing today. Callum McGregor keeps on just upping his game. Every week, just keeps upping his game. Callum McGregor is going to go down as one of the most important players that has ever played for Celtic. Mark my word. Phillips was always coming off at half time, in my opinion. Paul, I said that last night. I said I was about to run on the pitch today and say about the ref. I bet you were lucky. Phillips is okay for the game on Tuesday. Phillips and Kyogo is okay. It's been confirmed by the manager. Big Joe come up with another cracking save. Yes, everyone to a T on this channel was like, get a new keeper. The pass from Kalmat was naughty. The pass from Kalmat was sublime. That little Callum McGregor got slated by the Scottish press for not playing at his usual high standard against England. He showed today why young players that come through the ranks at Celtic should be, one, given the chance. And when they are given the chance and they are good enough, right, they need to perform. Callum McGregor is everything that every young boy that comes through the academy should aspire to. Everything. From the way that he does not do social media. Do you know what I mean? And Callum has been like that from day one. It's like, nah, I'm not interested. It's all these external factors. You don't need them in your life. If I was Celtic, I'd get Callum to go into the training academy and sit down with the young guys and just talk about his Celtic career. And in fact, I'd get Scott Brown to come in and sit with Callum, and I'd get Jamesy Forrest to do the same, because you've got two players, and Jamesy Forrest and Callum McGregor, that have came through the academy and have longevity at the club. And staying away from social media as a young player, anyone could be a Todd friggin' Cantwell. You know what I mean? Everyone could be, oh, look at me. And good players that have longevity at a club, the likes of Callum McGregor, come along once in a lifetime. Well, they don't. They come along a bit more often than that at Celtic, right? Celtic need to be bringing this through on an ongoing basis. Get young guys off of social media, get them focused on football, and produce the next up-and-coming batches of Callum McGregor's, James Forrest, John Kennedy's. You know, John Kennedy was better than Stephen McManus. Stephen McManus was rubbish at the same level as what John Kennedy was. But John Kennedy never had the career. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on. Baz, I hope Brendan sends Taylor for a Mars bar. Uh, Everyone was moaning about Turnbull getting in the team of the day and he scores goals. Yes, exactly. This is why I said last night, and I got pelters on the live last night. I got absolutely pelters. Um, why Turnbull? No, no Turnbull. Why Turnbull? Why Turnbull? Kyogo's header reminded me of King Henrik. It did. Everyone's saying that. Turnbull's a player that you're going to is a fantastic squad player, right? He's in the team just now because he's one of the guys that's 100% fit and he's on a bit of form. He's on a bit of form. Um, did Turnbull look like scoring? Turnbull had a lot of good passes the first half. He had some really shocking ones, which is Turnbull all over. But the first half, he was one of our better players, and he gets brought down on the edge of the box, and he scores the penalty. He was the first one to go and grab the ball for the penalty. So anyway, let's move on. Baz is Turnbull's cheerleader. No, I'm not. I'm not, Jimmy. It's just the fact that I got slated last night, and then when you looked at the team that was available, and my thinking behind it was, you play the players at the first half that are the fittest, and you try and get a little bit ahead in the game. We didn't manage to get ahead in the game, but Turnbull is a player that he was fitter than anybody else that was in midfield and he'd had more game time. That was my thinking behind it. And I got slated for it. So basically, I'm just a big, like, nah, 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 nah. Anyway, let's move on and see what Rogers had to say. Rogers was delighted with his side's effort. I did say last night it was going to be a hard game. A lot of people were saying 4-0, 5-0. It could have been, but Brendan Rodgers did tell Celtic TV, he says, look, in the first half, we created some opportunities. We were unfortunate not to go in front. You need that first goal. Dundee, you've got to give hats off to Dundee. They were a bit more organised than St Johnstone, and they were always going to try and hit us on the break, which they did try and do. Brendan Rodgers said, I have to give credit to Dundee because they were very organised and made it very difficult, but we kept on going forward. Congratulations to the crowd. It might be simple, but when it's 0-0 at half time, it can feel a bit edgy for the players. And the crowd didn't make us feel edgy today, which was good. However, I think the supporters can see what the players are trying to do. In games like this, it might be the last 20, 25 minutes that you win the game. We ended up with a very good second half, says Brendan Rodgers, and another clean sheet. That's 2 weeks in a row we've had a clean sheet. And what about the keeper? We'll get on to the keeper in a minute. We'll get on a bit with Joe Hart. Get rid of Joe Hart, everyone said. He's not good enough for Celtic. 2 weeks in a row, he's saved us. He's saved us. And the second win in a row, Brendan Rodgers said, look, he said it was much a team effort at the moment. He continued, he said, look, it's all about patience and time. It's important to notice for the team, this is very much a collective effort. There isn't a full starting 11 just yet that's going to be the mainstay of this team. It is about squad rotation and it's about making sure it is a team effort. They all worked very hard, Brendan Rodgers said, and the goals were excellent. After David scores the penalty, that's right, David Turnbull, everyone said last night, not David Turnbull, don't start him. After he scored the penalty with great composure, the second goal was fantastic ball from Callum. Hugo does what he does. He's lethal in front of goal, says Brendan Rodgers. I think Brendan Rodgers will take Kyogo up a notch or two his game. And the third one was absolutely brilliant. It says how we doubled up the pressing, we won the ball back, and then Matt O'Reilly again scores another one this season. Overall, it was a very professional performance, says Brendan Rodgers. We obviously travelled to Rotterdam. Phillips is fine. Kyogo is fine for Rotterdam. They will be on the plane, everything. Rio Hatate returned to action for the first time since picking up an injury last month against Aberdeen. Brendan Rodgers was delighted that he's back. He said he's an outstanding player. He brings dynamic to the team. He's a player that other players, he says, it's something that we do not have in other players. We wanted him to get up to speed by giving him half an hour to see how he would recover. And it was all about giving him that game time. So hopefully he'll get some game time on Tuesday. Let's get back to some of the comments because that is what the channel is all about. Mate, anyone can score penalties, says Conan the Librarian. There's been a good few penalties missed by Celtic over the years, and especially recently. Hail from Rotterdam, Baz. Keep the cool. Let's come together. Wait until the boys are back. Talking about Rotterdam, What was their final score today? We understand that they were 3-0 up within 30 minutes. Here we go. Something today says the anti-football show, as far as in front of the rest in Scotland. It's time to restructure the leagues. It is. It is. It's definitely. And we spoke about that in the live something today. It's like we spoke about this many, many times. That Welsh twat that played for the Zombies couldn't. I have no idea. Right. Rio starts on Tuesday, says Paul. Do you think so? Do you think he's fit enough to last? I think he maybe start on Tuesday and he'll get the first half. Because I was on the phone to who was it that said that? Was it John? Who is it? Joe Hart experience is needed. Yes, Joe Hart experience is needed. Hart deserves credit, says Lorna. Hi to you, Lorna. Hope you're doing well. Rio starts Tuesday. Tell Dixie that. He'll for the brig. Get in. Score a penalty. Kyogo is just Kyogo. He is that. He is that. Right, let's get back to some Celtic news and see what Brendan Rodgers said after the game. We've probably pretty much covered it, actually. Brendan Rodgers has admitted after the game also, he hails Kyogo and he says that Hatate, here's breaking news actually, Sky have just put this out, says that Rio Hatate, it's going to be a video, accept all. Right, 2 seconds. I'll do this and just see what Brendan Rodgers said to Sky after the game. Brendan's pleased with the result. In the back of the international break, Brendan's pleased with the played against a determined Dundee team. He said at half time that we were playing well enough, just keep what we're doing. Yeah, that's what he said. He's basically said what I said before. Good passing, creating a lot of opportunities. Yeah, he's just saying what. But he has said that Rio Hatate, the talks with Rio Hatate are ongoing. He has admitted it. Feyenoord will be tough. It's a Feyenoord game. Let's see if we can get what the final score was for them. Anyway, let's talk about the irishnews.com was saying David Turnbull penalty helped Celtic see off a determined Dundee. David Turnbull won and converted the penalty, sent Celtic on their way to a 3-0 victory over Dundee. Goalkeeper Joe Hart made the best save of the goalless first half in the Premiership. And, Joe Hart, let's talk about Joe Hart. Everyone was giving him a stick and said that we need a new keeper. Joe Hart, for the second week in a row, has proved his experience. And I always said, look, you don't play 75 times for England. Yes, for England. We are saying that about a Celtic player. You don't play 75 times for England during your career and, play for some cracking clubs and not have a lot of experience. And what brought to Celtic, and Peter Grant said it on Celtic TV. He said, Peter Grant said, look, he said, you've got keepers out there that will run about and shout orders and, they'll be like, panic stations. But you've got Joe Hart, who's kind of calm. And that calm nature comes across and helps some of the younger defenders. Liam Scales, I think we need to give Liam Scales a bit more credit than what we're doing because a lot of fans think that Kyogo will take over the King of Kings. I'm happy with that. We've got a superb striker, but he's not a Larson, says Lanky. I think Kyogo, his stats will take over. It comes down to what he can do in Europe. Remember back to Seville, everyone thought when Henrik scores their goals, it's only going to end one way. Henrik done it consistently in Europe. Let's see how we get on in the Champions League and if Kyogo takes his chances this year. We're not putting a double on moment on this day. We've scored 3-0. The score was 3-0. We have a blank at the back again, which was absolutely brilliant. Kyogo is one of the players that we cannot. It would take. There was talk about Dyson Maida getting sold. If he's worth 25 million and the English come in for Kyogo, it's going to cost 30 million up to take Kyogo from Celtic. This is how much I think Kyogo is to Celtic. Celtic need to give Kyogo in a year's time. If Kyogo scores in the Champions League, and if Kyogo keeps on improving, and he scores on a regular basis in Europe, I think Kyogo needs another pay rise, and we need even more. We need to make sure even more that we're tied him down and that he feels loved at this club, so that he stays. Because there's a guy down in Tottenham that's very persuasive and could easily talk them down there. Easy. Is that bucket of red wine that you're drinking? No, it is neither. It is a Spanish aperitif. It's to settle my stomach because I had a couple of pints this afternoon. And it helps stop bloating. It's fantastic. The Spanish have got an answer for everything. We can't even replace them for 30 million. The likes of Griffiths don't exist anymore. Who would we get? Actually, I did say that. I said, look, I mean, for all how Griffiths' career ended at Celtic. Speaking of Tottenham, they got pumped. They did not. I seen it was 1-1. Did they actually get beat? Is that what the cheer was when I left the pub? Did they actually get beat? What was the final score? My bongos are better than yours. It's sure. See, everybody's starting to notice that the bookshelf is emptying. We're trying to keep it full for like the next few days. Just Spurs won. Spurs won it, did they? Champions League is extra money for the club. 3 would be good, but 2, I right, Baz. It's some Vimto. It's not Vimto. It's not. It's an aperitif. Right, anyway. Goals, 98th and 100 minute for Spurs. You're joking. 100 minutes. Who cares? Spurs won 2-1. Anyway. Right. Let's see if there's any more Celtic news kicking around. Kyogo had his shoulder popped back in. The fact that he keeps dislocating his shoulder is a worry. But it is what it is. And the Japanese striker walked off the pitch and his arm hanging limply by his side. The hosts were struggling to break down the visitors. Were they? At that point? Really? They're struggling to break down the visitors? I thought Dundee United were well organised and Celtic were playing the game. And if you look at the stats, Celtic had 75% possession. You've got to love the Scottish media. As well as finding the key to unlock Dundee, there was also a little matter of Tuesday's Champions League trip to Feyenoord occupying the mind. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was all about giving people games. I love the way that Scottish media think that there's always this ulterior move. Anyway, his shoulder just needed some work off the pitch, and medical team sorted it out. He came back in. He was fine. He was fine. The shoulder needed just popped back in. He answered yes. He was economical with his reply to a reporter whether it would be a doubt for midweek. He said no. See the Scottish press? I actually don't know why I read some of the Scottish media because it's absolutely a joke. Yes, hun blood. Yeah, we're not talking about Spurs again. Score early on Tuesday. No, Jesus, Conan. I think right. I need to find out the score because they were winning 3-0 in the first 30 minutes. Come on. They won 6-1 today. Jesus. They scored on the 12th minute, the 16th minute, the 20th minute. They then scored on the 60th minute, 66th minute, and 72 minutes. I don't want to be a dampener, right? But I did say, yeah, John 6-1, I just seen it. Kaiser, tainted media, bro. Yeah, it's all cervical rags. I don't even know why I look at Scottish Best. Sometimes it's interesting just to get a take on it when you're not there. I see also sad for aye, right. I'm not sad for Spurs. I'm not sad for Spurs either. It's a Hoops channel. I couldn't care about Spurs. Feyenoord at home. Today's done and dusted. It was 3-0. It was a fantastic, absolutely fantastic result in the big picture of things. We kept things going. Right, let's talk about the positives of today. The positives of 6-1, we'll still pump them. Jesus God, I need a drink. Oh, man. Right, let's talk about the positives. The positives of today were Phillips got first half to get some game time, get some fitness. You can see he's a little bit rusty. So he's got that fitness in about him. Players that played the first half, Yang I thought was offbeat. The players that come on and made their debuts. Lewis Palmer. I thought he's going to be some player. I didn't think we've seen enough of Paulo Bernardo. I didn't think we've seen enough of Paulo. He was maybe on a bit late. He didn't, because of his position, he maybe didn't get enough of the ball. But I think the fact that these players come on and made their debuts and it was all good. You know, there's a lot of positive. Come on. I sometimes O's a player that needs a bit of work, but he's never going to be an out and out striker for us. He's never going to be that out and out striker. He's more likely to be like, dare I say it, a Samaras type player. He's maybe more like a Samaras he'll create things. To be fair, he's more like John Hartson or a Chris Sutton. I think we need to play two up front sometimes. I think O would benefit playing two up front. O would be a lot better if we played two up front. Kogo says, enjoyed the game today, however, I think we need a bit more offensive play style for Europe. Don't look at today's game. This is where people go wrong. Don't look at today's game and think about Tuesday, because it'll be a completely different game. Feyenoord are not going to sit back. Feyenoord won 6-1 today, right? They scored goals in the 12th minute, 16th minute, and 20th minute. They were 3-0 up at home within the first 20 minutes. They do not lose a lot of games at home, right? Feyenoord will come out and attack us. That should open up. You and boys flying to Amsterdam tomorrow. Get the train to Rotterdam on Tuesday morning. Get in there. I might be, I'm not told her yet, but I might be going to Rome. We're definitely going up to Madrid, but the flights to Rome are cheap as chips just now. Cheap as chips. So I might go to Rome, but I'm not sure if I'm going to get a ticket for Rome. We'll need to see about that situation. So if anybody's got a spare ticket for Rome, give me a shout. More like a poor man's Grumpy Greek. He is that. And he wanted away. He wasn't. He wasn't. We can talk about the big Greek, and we could talk about the fact that he was a better player, but he wanted away to play first team football. He didn't want to play second fiddle on a week to week basis, and that's the whole reason that he left Celtic, and that's the only reason he left. Final will be all at a time. We need Phillips and CCV fit. I think it's too early for Cameron Carter-Vickers. Too early. Lazio and Madrid both beaten today, and that's something else because Atletico Madrid were third in the league. So that gives us a bit of hope. Gives us a little bit of hope. Just hope we can defeat. We can avoid defeat. Yes, Helen says, I hope we can avoid defeat in Rotterdam. I think I said it the last couple of days now. If we can get a score draw in Rotterdam, it would be fantastic. If you don't get a ticket, go and light a few candles. I'd probably go and do that anyway, Jenny. I'd probably go and do that anyway. I just know that the 2 years won't be going to Rome, so that's probably the iffy bit, just because of the time of year that it's at. But anyway, 2-2 on Tuesday. I would love that, says Ewan Boy. If we managed a 2-2 away to them, it would be brilliant. And hopefully we can bring something to the table that they're not expecting. Don't look at today's game and think about how we're going to play on Tuesday, because we're not going to play like that, and they're not going to play the same way as Dundee did. They're not going to sit back. They're going to attack us. We need to be really good and defensive minded. We need to hit them on the break. Callum McGregor, Liam Scales today had little chip balls forward. I've got to say that Phillips had a diagonal ball, and if I know it went out for a throw in, but it was basically a pinpoint to Yang. I thought Yang had a pretty poor game, to be honest. I thought Yang didn't perform. He's got a big opportunity, and I think that Yang might have just lost that opportunity to a certain player from South America, and it'll be good to see. It's it's up in the air who's going to take that position from Leo Labada. Yang did not do it today for me. Lewis Palmer, on the other hand, he's got something about him. He's got something about him. I would love to get Fortress Park Head again. Teams felt they were lucky if they came away with something. Yes, I'd love to see that. Um, can we do that? Can we turn the clock back 20 years? It's going to be hard. It's not even 20 years, because even Neil Lennon managed it against the mighty Barcelona, and that was an amazing night. I mean, I still have, from everything from the tiffle before the game, everything. I just thought everything that night was just set up for us to beat Barcelona. There was just something about the atmosphere inside the ground that night. It was beating Barcelona. That it was just, you just felt that something was going to happen. You just felt something. It felt a special night. And hopefully we can try and do that again. And that all comes down to the fans and the atmosphere. Brendan Rodgers thanked the fans today for not getting on the team's back because it was still 0-0 at half time. We're not that other mob across the road that go, anyway. I think Forrest maybe starting Rotterdam. Not a chance. Nah, not a chance. It's not had enough game time, Brian. It's not had enough game time. I can't get to Rotterdam, so buy a Fire Stick. Fire Stick's one of the best things that you can ever buy. I'm not sure whether I'm going to go to the pub and watch the game, or to do one of those live watch-alongs where we all watch it and then we can sit and talk about it. I'm not sure yet. It's going to. I'm having quite an interesting week with things going on. No pressure on Tuesday. It's a free hit. It is a free hit, and it's games like that Celtic generally come out and prove something. Do you know, when we're not expected, you get a good Wi-Fi in your new place. We just ordered, John. Sorry about this, people. We just ordered up to 1,000 megabit. We just got that installed. Yes, we do get we get about 600 megabits here with Wi-Fi with the internet. So yeah, we've just ordered 1,000 megabit internet. Don't be surprised if Forrest plays some part on Tuesday. Yes, Paul, I totally agree with that. Forrest will be the type of player that will come on the second half because he's got that Champions League experience. Now, it's like Brendan says. He says, look, you've got 7 or 8 guys that have to be from Scotland, and then you've got 7 guys, and then you've got 17 to pick from for the squad. James Forrest's experience at this level is what bringing him on as a substitute. That's what I would like to see the podcast suffer. No, the podcast won't suffer. Don't worry. The internet should be just as good as it is here. Don't worry about that. Lucky if you get 40 megabit in Scotland. But as you go to Paddy's Point for the Scotland game against Spain, I will be there. Yes, I will, Ewan boy. Yeah, I will. I don't usually go down for the Scotland games, but it's in Seville, and let's all have a party in Seville. Yeah, I will do. It'd be good to meet you. So yeah, I'll probably go down for that. And actually, you could buy my pint because it's my birthday. Though. Right, let's get back to some of it. I'm a wee bit worried about. Tony says I'm a wee bit worried about Tuesday. 3-0 today, but there's nothing to shout about. Hail, hail. Well, Tony, I don't know if you know, but Feyenoord were 3-0 up within the first 20 minutes of the game today. They won 6-1. They're letting a goal. They're letting a goal on the 25th minute. So it was 3-1, but then they turned up they went out the second half and they scored a goal in the 60th minute, 66th minute, and the 72nd minute. And this is the club that the Scottish media have been saying that they've got a striker issue. Nonsense. You know what I mean? Don't listen to the Scottish media, man. I agree, James Forrest would be a better sub for those games. Yeah, he would. James Forrest and the experience that he's got at Champions League level will be invaluable to Brendan Rodgers and Celtic this season. And this is what will be the difference between last season. You know, last season the manager was stuck in his way and stuck in his formation and stuck with the mind that he wanted these players to show that they could do it. And I don't think he made the right changes at the right times. Yang did have a bit of speed to get by the left back, cracking player, young player. He was taken off and had to face Maida. Yes, Yang did okay, and it showed that he's a young player. And we're not going to get into this conversation tonight because it comes down to, you know, if these players that we're buying in are good enough. People were talking in the pub today. We're talking about Ben Doak. Ben Doak's probably the one player that Celtic will regret losing. People were asking me today about Rocco Vata. Rocco Vata does not want to be at Celtic. That's why he's not in the first team. That's why he's nowhere near the first team. Rocco Vata does not see his future at Celtic because he thinks that he's going to come into another team and he's going to walk into another team and play first team football like Ben Doak. He's going to get a wake up call, Rocco Vata, and I think he's going to get a wake up call when he moves next summer. If we can get 5 points and finish third in the Champions League, I'll be happy with that, says you boy. That's been I said 6 points. If we can get 2 wins at home, if we can get 2 wins at home, if we could sneak 2 wins at home, you know, um, backs to the wall, wife here, Baz. I think Tuesday. I did say last night on the live. I said, look, watch out for Tuesday because tomorrow's game, well, today, hopefully Phillips shows some masterclass and Kyogo. As long as Phillips and Scales, who will be the defence? Will it be Gustav or will it be Scales? Will Phillips maybe not even play in the Champions League because he's not up to speed? Was Brendan playing a bit of a masterstroke by getting Phillips in and just getting him that game time to get him fit? To know that they've got a really good defender in the wings if he needs to come on. Will Gustav and Scales start the game? That's going to be interesting on Tuesday. It's going to be up there. Feyenoord are playing with nothing today. And just like when we do, we score 6 at home. I hope Phillips has. It's pretty good. Hey, Baz, just back from the game, says Aussie online. How was the game, Aussie? Tell us, and then opposed to Skills, says Andrew Hunter. Tell us how the game. Well, we all watch the game on telly, and as long as there are no hammerings, I'll be happy. I think when it comes to the Champions League, I think as long as if we can get Chris Sutton, James, young Dumbelly found out when he wanted away. Yeah, where is he now? Exactly. Karamoko Dumbelly was meant to be the next big thing that came for Celtic. It was meant to be the next big thing that went. His problem is that he's still about 5'2". So when you're that small a player, maybe he's about 5'4" now. Um, but Karamoko, he's never going to progress as a player because he's never got any height. One thing I would say about Scales, if Scales can beef himself up a bit and go into the gym for the next 6 months and beef up his upper body strength, I thought he could actually, what a turnaround that would be. Liam Scales was minutes from getting sent to Aberdeen this year, and Scales could turn out to be one of the most improved players. And this we can go back 2 years ago and talk about a player that came from Kilmarnock, and everyone said, "Now get him away, get him away." He's not Celtic standard. He's not Celtic standard. To be fair, he's not having a great season this season. But Greg Taylor, for 2 years in a row, upped his game something else. What if Scales now does that at Celtic? What if Scales goes, you know what? I've got this opportunity and I'm going to take it. I'm going to grab that opportunity with both hands and I'm going to just, I'm going to prove that I can get better and that Brendan can make me that better player. Because let's face it, he done it. Maradona was only 5'6", just saying. You, you cannot compare Maradona to Karamoko Dumbelly. God. Oh my God. You cannot compare. What's Kyogo's height? I think he's 5'10", I think he is. 5'10", I think he was. Skills can only get better. Naomi says the new Wonka movie. What are you on about? Huh? Jota looks a bit silly now, but an awful lot a bit richer. Exactly. Could you imagine, Baz, if you're right about skills? I will be one of the first. I did say during pre-season, I says, look, Scales is at a crossroads. As I did say Welsh, I said those two players are at crossroads in their Celtic careers. They either need to both go out and get game time and prove that they're good enough to play for Celtic. The manager liked what he's seen with Welsh and give him the new contract, and it's just pure fate that he gets injured. It comes down to the fact that we've got injuries in our defence, that Scales does not get sent to Aberdeen. Aberdeen were they wanted him back. They wanted him back. They wanted Scales back. And the fact that Scales could now become one of the most important players in our defence could be one of the biggest turnarounds in Scottish football. Listen, if Rocco can't get a game right now with injuries, Rocco Vata, stop talking about Rocco Vata because he doesn't want to play for Celtic. He, he had what's it, Daddy syndrome. Let's clean up the Rocco Vata situation because Rocco Vata, what are they saying about Lanky? Well done, Lanky. What's Lanky done? I'm back today. I'm back today. It has to be the best day everyone. I just won 465 on a coupon. I'm out here. Hey, get razzed. Go on yourself, Lanky. Get in there. Right, anyway, we've been on for 46 minutes. There's people are dropping off everywhere. They're probably waiting to watch Snide FM and do what you do on a Saturday night. Skills is best since Billy McNeil. That's a big one. I thought the body language attack today doesn't look like he wanted to be here. What do you think? The body language, I spoke to my brother about this after my brother phoned me after the game when I was coming up the road, and he doesn't look fit. He doesn't look 100% fit yet. He dropped his knees after the game and he looked knackered. He looked absolutely knackered. And I think that's why you've got to bring these players in bit by bit. We brought Cameron Carter-Vickers in too early, and look what happens with him. He gets another injury, puts him out for another couple of months. Scales is the greatest comeback. Yep. Rarst. This is, yeah, groovy baby. Dancer says Lanky. Big hats off to Lanky. Got the hat for that. What was your bets? Hail from Dublin says Vincent. Folk are now jumping on. Now I've decided to come off. Anyway, it is time. It's time. It's been a fantastic day. There'll be a video out first thing tomorrow morning. Strictly come dancing. Oh my goodness, my goodness. Right, I'll do a video tomorrow morning. We will do the Sunday night live. Oh, and something to say. Sunday night, going to try something different on a Sunday night. How do you feel? Thank you. You have to do with Tavern. How do you feel about doing a Celtic quiz on a Sunday night? I might do a Sunday night quiz. Also, we'll do the live, the 5:15 live on Sunday, but it might involve a little bit of a Celtic quiz. So those who think they know their history, if you know your history and you think you're good enough, come along. Right, on that note, it's been fantastic. Celtic won. Feyenoord won 6-1. Don't want to end on a bad note. Cheers, Bars. Lorna, you're an absolute star. Giswell, Night Baz. Have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans all around the world. I'll see you tomorrow morning for the Celtic News video, and I'll see you tomorrow afternoon for the live. Roll up to the party.